What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the final edition of the this video for the year. There's going to be no more PGA Tour events until January, so hope everyone enjoys Thanksgiving and the nice little break that we have in December. But before we take that break, let's break down the RSM Classic. Should be a fun event. So the last 2 weeks we haven't had Shot Tracker, which really hurts the sweating experience, whether you are playing DFS or betting outrights. It's just not the same without Shot Tracker. So it'll be good to have it back this week. And we do have a very full field. So 156 golfers are set to tee it up this week at Sea Island Golf Club. And because there are so many golfers, we have two different courses in play. So there is the Seaside course, which is the host course. This will be played one of the first 2 rounds and then both of the rounds on the weekend. Then you have the Plantation course, which is only going to be played one of the first 2 rounds. So golfers will play each course once, and then the cut will be made, and then the final 2 rounds will be played at the Seaside course. And while they are, in the same area, they are different golf courses. So the Seaside course is a par 70, 7,005 yards. The winners at this event over the last 5 years, some pretty good names: Matt McNeely, Ludwig Aberg, Svensson, Taylor Gooch, Robert Streb. So kind of a mix of different skill sets there. But the winning score typically hinges on the weather. More often than not, it ends up being one of the easier courses on the PGA Tour. Bermuda grass greens, 7,200 square feet in terms of the size of the greens. So pretty big greens, pretty wide fairways, 41 yards wide on average. Water's in play on 13 of the 18 holes. So I don't mind looking at some high water danger metrics this week on the rabbit hole at BetSperts. As far as the last year's tournament averages went, golfers hit 66% of fairways, 69% of greens, and they averaged 280 yards off the tee. Now, the key metric for me is that they only use driver on 47% of tee shots. So that is well below the tour average, which is at 69%. So this is not a course where you're just going to bomb and gouge. Can have a lot of lesson driver tee shots, which really brings everyone into play. Guys that aren't long off the tee, or guys that aren't necessarily very good off the tee, definitely have an advantage this week compared to most weeks, because you're just not going to be behind the 8 ball as much if you don't drive the ball well. As far as the Plantation course, it's a par 72, so you get the 4 par 5s, and it's only 7,060 yards, so it's about the same length as the other course. It's a par 70. It usually plays a little bit easier, but that has switched a couple times over the years. So if you're playing Showdown, I might give a slight lean to the guys that are playing the Plantation course, but not something that I would go out of my way to target. And then you're going to hear about the Sea Island Mafia. This is everyone that lives on the island. A lot of the golfers either live or train on this island, so going to have a lot of home game narratives. I'm not really sure you need to put too much stock into guys that live close to the course, just because the home game narrative hasn't worked all that well at this event in the past. As far as the statistics that I'm looking at: stroke gain approach, total driving, stroke gain putting on Bermuda grass, stroke gain around the green. And then I'm looking at 3 different filters on the rabbit hole at BetSperts. It's one of my favorite, or it is my favorite stat search engine. So you have stroke gain on coastal and ocean courses, stroke gain on lesson driver courses, and stroke gain on high water danger courses, which we'll cover here in this week's model. That should just about do it for the course preview. So let's dive into the model. Very small weight to stroke gained off the tee this week. I just don't think it matters as much as it does most weeks. I have accuracy weighted a little bit this week, have it at 4%. Stroke gain approach at 12%, and we do have the expected stroke gain column back this week. This is who I expect to gain the most strokes on approach based on where everyone's going to be hitting their approach shots. You have Martin Laird number 1, which is kind of interesting. Didn't expect to see his name up here, but he was T17 here last year. Yeah, Victor Perez, who just joined LIV. I'm not sure if he's going to still play this week or if he's just going to get out of there. As of right now, recording this on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, he's still in the field. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to be too motivated to play well this week after just taking the bag from LIV. I'm going to be off of Victor Perez. I know he's been a model favorite for quite some time now, but I think he's a pretty easy fade for me. You have Matt Kuchar, who's been playing some great golf recently. He's made 12 of his last 13 cuts. He is a member of the Sea Island Mafia. He's number 3, so with his short game, definitely a guy you want to keep an eye on. Tom Hoagie 4. He doesn't really do anything else well, but he does hit his irons very well. Did finish 4th here in 2021. And then Chris Kirk kind of rounds out your top 5. He hasn't played in 10 weeks at least. But yeah, he's another one of those guys that I think he lives on the island, so it will be a home game for him. Strokes gained tee to green, I have a weighted at 3%. Around the green, I have it at 10%. So this is one of the highest metrics or the highest weights that I've had on around the green all season. Data Golf just has it skewed so far, towards scrambling and around the green that I'm bumping this up this week. So hopefully that will come to fruition. And then strokes gained putting at 8%. Again, short game matters here more than it does on most courses. So I typically like looking at ball striking for most events. This week I'm looking more at short game than ball striking. 3% to birdie better, 3% to bogey avoidance. And then course history, we have it at 4%. It's kind of been hit or miss. So whenever you have a course with a lot of water, there tends to be more volatility with course history. It's why you'll see a lot of guys finish in the top 10, miss a cut, top 15, miss a cut. Danny McCarthy miscut 10th, 5th. Like, it's just harder to be consistent when water hazards bring more penalty strokes into play. But at the very top, you have Eric Cole, Phillips, Hughes, Thor Bjornsson, and Daniel Berger. Whoever's gained the most on coastal ocean courses, Vince Whaley, Patrick Rogers, Hayden Springer, Thor Bjornsson, and Patrick Fishburne. Guys that have gained the most strokes on less than driver courses, Phillips, Eckroat, Ryder, Harmon, and Seamus Power. And then guys that have gained the most on high water danger courses, Smalley, Doug Gim, Siwoo Kim, Bridgman, and Takumi Kanaya. Bridgman's interesting just because he does have such a good short game. Kanaya almost won last week. He's been playing some really solid golf all over the world. So a guy I don't mind looking to this week in large field tournaments at 7,600. Then, as always, we have the different long-term form metrics. You can either put weights on how often a golfer finishes in the top 5, 10, or 15% of the fields that they're playing in, or you can just do the raw strokes gain data, which is these 3 columns here. The field strength, I have it at 8% this week. And let's get into the overall rankings. At the very top, believe it or not, Matt Kuchar, 8,300, and he's number 1 in the model. I have him tagged as a core play in lineup HQ on RotoGrinders this week, and he's going to be probably my highest owned golfer. Again, he's made 12 of his last 13 cuts. He has 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts. He's been playing a decent amount in the fall, lives on the course. So everything's kind of going for Kuchar this week. And again, his approach play has been so good over the last 6 months that I really think he could be in for a big week. Harris English, number 2. I like English, but he hasn't played in 8 weeks. That's the only concern that I have for him. But he's got some pretty good course history, really good course fit given his short game. Denny McCarthy, another one of those guys that accurate off the tee, really good short game. When the irons show up, he tends to contend. When they don't, he tends to not have much upside. But we just haven't seen him in a long time. He hasn't played in at least 10 weeks, so not sure where the state of his game is at the moment. Thorbjorn Oleson's been playing great. He's never played this event, but he has finished T29 or better in 6 of his last 7 starts. He's been playing a ton in the fall, which I like to see. So really like him at 9,200. Also like Brian Harmon, another Georgia guy, Seattle Mafia guy, finished 2nd here in 2022. And he hasn't played a ton, but he did play on the DP World Tour 4 weeks ago, finished T26. So it's at least good that he has played some competitive rounds recently. Siwoo Kim just withdrew, and I don't know. I just don't have a strong take on him. I do like the course fit, but not a guy that I'm going to prioritize this week. JT Poston, another guy, I'm pretty sure he's Sea Island guy. Hasn't played a ton, but T29 6 weeks ago, so at least he has made a start this fall. Vince Whaley, one of my favorite plays on the board. For whatever reason, he just comes alive this time of year. He had the elite track record at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, and then he's got an elite track record here too. So he's finished T8 and T13 here the last 2 years, finished T3 last week. He's been playing a ton. Great short game. I think a lot of my lineups are going to start with Kuchar and Whaley, and then I'm going to pick, either Oleson or Harmon to kind of start my lineups. Then I'll dip down a little bit. Matt Wallace is projecting really well for me. Very hit or miss course history. Not the best form, but really good short game. So if you do want to prioritize short game, he's a guy I would look to in tournaments. Michael Brennan, I worry about him because you take the driver out of his hands a little bit. I do think that's could be an issue this week, and he's never played here before. Chris Kirk, I think, is fine, but again, he hasn't played in at least 10 weeks. Going to be off of Victor Perez now that he has gone to live. Rico Hoey, I've been playing him every single week. He's been great, but this is where I kind of hop off. It's a short game week, and he's not very good around the green, and he's one of the worst putters in the field. So for me, I think at 9,800 and high ownership, that's an easy fade. I do like Eric Cole. Missed the cut on the number last week. We can forgive him for that. He's 3 for 3 here with 2 top 15s in a row. Was in good form before last week too. So I do like Eric Cole. Mac Meisner projects well for me. Bud Colley's got a pretty good short game. Nico, I don't know what to do with Nico. He's made 3 straight cuts. He did have a second place finish here last year. But man, the around the green does scare me a little bit. So if the ball striking is like elite, then I could see him contending. If not, I wouldn't be surprised with the miscut. For Nico this week, moving down, we have Novak and Gim. I do like Novak, but he hasn't played in 10 weeks or more, so that worries me a little bit. Smalley's number 1 in the field in high water danger courses, coming off of top 5s in 2 of his last 3 starts. I think he's interesting. Putnam just rates out well for me every week. He never seems to get it done, but I'll probably have some of him in large field stuff. My favorite 2 plays in the 6s are going to be Taylor Montgomery. So if you look at his numbers, one of the worst drivers of the ball in the field. So off the tee, really bad. Accuracy, really bad. Not very good on approach, but one of the best scramblers in the field, and he's probably the best putter in the field. He's 3 for 3 here, and he was really popular, a few weeks ago. So now that he's 6,900 and going to be lower owned, this is probably where I want to hop on him. And then I like Paul Peterson all the way down to 6,300. I've never played this guy before, but love the way his stats are kind of trending on this course. So he's no distance off the tee, which is why his strokes gained off the tee numbers are so bad. But he is very accurate. His irons are decent. His expected iron numbers are really good. He's very good around the green. Top 20 in this field in putting, and he finished T25 here last year. So 6,300. I usually don't dip down this far into my player pool, but I will be way overweight on Paul Peterson this week. So that will do it. We will catch you back here in January. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that good stuff. Best of luck, and we'll see you in a little bit.